Midsummer, and it's time to kick back, relax, and enjoy the garden. Or is it? While we're not quite at fall planting or even planting yet, some crops are definitely coming out of the garden, such as my recently harvested garlic and lettuce that is spent after multiple harvests and weather a bit warmer than it likes. So we have empty bed space, crops maturing and being harvested, and a motivated yearning to keep this garden ball rolling, which is great because I got a bunch of plants that we can still be planting and growing right now to keep this summer garden jam humming along. I'm really excited for this video because it expands on the notion that this crop is planted in this time frame only and the limitations that that represents. Remember, our plants don't know what time it is. They simply react to light, water, heat, and nutrients. Now, I've got a top 12 list of plants that you can grow in July, but not everyone's July is the same. Of course, someone in the Pacific Northwest where I live is gonna have different growing conditions than someone in Florida or even someone gardening in Southern California. The trick when growing these mid-season crops is realizing that their growth habits actually make them favorable for planting right now. And there's two specific qualities that these crops have that do this. One, they are a crop that doesn't fruit. Specifically, they're harvested for the foliage or swollen rooting structure exclusively. This way, the expensive flowering and fruiting stage is not necessary, cutting down the crop time significantly. The other is that if we are after the fruit, they're a variety that matures fast and is specifically chosen for this late season planting. Notice that these two qualities have one thing in common: speed. They grow fast and are harvested in a shortened window. This is to beat the impending winter and cooler temperatures. Again, that all goes back to where you live. Your first frost date might be in September, or it might be well into November. Knowing this, and knowing just how big your window of growing is from right now, is key in picking what plants you can still grow for the rest of summer. I picked out 12 plants that are tailor-made for this accelerated type of growing. And yes, tomatoes are on that list. However, you'll notice that fall plants such as broccoli and cauliflower are not. While those guys and plants like this red cabbage here are definitely planted at this time, fall crops are an entirely different beast. So stay tuned for that video coming up soon. All right, let's dive right in. Crop number one that I'm not only planting, but probably replanting is peas. When I think of replanting a crop in July, peas are tops on that list. One of the fastest growing crops we can grow, English peas, snow peas, or sugar peas are all game here. Most are ready within 60 days from seed to harvest, and being a legume, they're a great crop to put into spent beds needing a recharge. Plant number two is lettuce. Now, not only is lettuce a quick crop like peas, it's even better because we're only growing it for the foliage. Within a month, some varieties of lettuce can be harvested using the cut and come again method. And as one of the most sprayed and polluted crops that you can find at the grocery store, the more lettuce you can grow, the better. As a bonus for you northern growers, even if your first frost date is looming, there's varieties that you can grow that get even sweeter with the dropping temperatures. Another quick leafy green is spinach. Even faster than lettuce, most spinach varieties can be harvested as baby greens in about a month. And as adult greens, a few weeks after that. Number 4 on our list are carrots. This famously delicious root crop loves the heat of summer to germinate, but as the nighttime temperatures drop, that delicious taproot only gets sweeter and sweeter. Direct sow your carrots right up to 60 days before your first fall frost. Now, this guy here needs to get thin, but another popular root crop to grow midsummer is beets. These guys are great succession plants for those empty beds and pots that we have lying around right now. Like carrots, their taproots only get better with cooler temperatures. Beets, however, take it even a step further, and they're able to tolerate quite heavy frosts. Amazing. And because of this, their window only grows, and they can actually be harvested right into winter. And if that wasn't enough, their leaves are completely edible. Delicious. At the halfway point of our list, we have zucchinis. The prototypical summer squash definitely doesn't have the cold hardiness of carrots or beets, but what it lacks in cold tolerance, it more than makes up for in speed and productivity. Because the fruit is picked immature, most zucchinis can be harvested within 60 days of planting, making them ideal late season additions. At number 7, we have a summer staple, cucumbers. Many of these creeping vines are the first to produce late spring, early summer. Even at this time of year, we can use this accelerated growth to our advantage. Some varieties can even be picked after 55 days, seed to harvest. Definitely give cucumbers a second look mid-season. Next up, we have corn, one of the fastest growing plants, period. Like carrots, corn can be planted multiple times a year for multiple harvests. Best planted at least 2 months before your first fall frost. Try to pick the early harvest varieties for the best results. Also, eating some late season corn as the long days of summer wind down, is such a nostalgic feeling. It's really hard not to plant a late season patch, in my opinion. At number 9, we have the fastest crop that I've ever seen, radishes. Actually a member of the brassica family, the kales, the broccolis, and the cauliflowers, radishes can often be harvested in less than 4 weeks. In fact, in some places you can actually plant 3 successive crops of them starting in July. That's truly amazing. If you're ever worried about the length of time left in your summer growing window, radishes are your crop. At number 10, we have Swiss chard. Essentially, it's the foliage-only form of beets. And while it may not be as fast a grower as lettuce or spinach, almost all varieties can be grown in less than 2 months. And in a pinch, all varieties of chard can be harvested as lush baby greens in probably 25 to 30 days. On top of that, chard is quite cold tolerant, so don't stress if your fall frost date is earlier than some other growers. Coming in at second to last, we have herbs. Herbs, 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 herbs. Specifically, quick growing lush herbs like cilantro, basil, dill, or oregano. Add some late season pep to your palate and grow a smorgasbord of flavor right up to a month before frost. And when the weather turns dark and dreary, simply bring your herb plants indoors for year-round enjoyment. Lastly, like we said, and this may surprise you, we have tomatoes, and to a lesser extent, peppers. These nightshades, although a spring planting staple, probably the spring planting staple, can often enjoy a late season resurgence, provided the conditions are right. Obviously, a greenhouse can really extend your growing season, but try to pick the fastest maturing varieties and really calculate how much time you have left in your growing window. Work backwards from your first frost date and try to shorten that window by planting advanced starter plants, rather than direct seeding. Prune off the late flowers and suckers, in the case of tomatoes, and you might be surprised at the harvest that can be squeezed out of these guys this late in the game. The list of plants that you can still grow mid-season is endless, so think of these 12 as a starting point. Remember, every region and climate is different, so don't get too discouraged if you see people from other areas, growing stuff that doesn't jive with where you live. Always work backwards from your first fall frost, and don't be afraid to try something new. Look at the mid-season growing as a bonus, where experimenting is encouraged and discovery is possibly just around the corner. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate the support more than you know. And if you're getting value from these videos, please like and share them to spread the word and help your fellow gardener to grow better.